Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
A student has been found guilty of planting a homemade bomb on a tube train in London. Damon Smith, who's 20, packed a rucksack with explosives, ball bearings and a timer, which was set to go off within minutes at North Greenwich Station. Our Home Affairs correspondent June Kelly has the story.
Alone on a London Underground platform, Damon Smith is caught on CCTV priming his device to explode on the tube. It's inside a rucksack and he's timed it to go off just after 11 a.m. Surrounded by passengers, he feigns interest in his book. Further down the line, he gets off, but he's abandoned the rucksack in the carriage and left the device packed with ball bearings to detonate. The rucksack was eventually spotted. North Greenwich Station was evacuated. Although parts of the device were viable, it failed to explode.
If it had detonated, it certainly would have endangered life. Without a doubt would have caused mass casualties and certainly would have caused substantial damage to the underground system. He had an unhealthy interest in firearms and violence, particularly mass shootings in America. And although he was in possession of some IS material, we cannot prove his motivation or certainly his ideology.
Damon Joseph Smith.
Damon, OK.
This was Damon Smith in a police interview. He has Asperger's syndrome, a form of autism.
When I was on the tube, I realised I was going to Stratford.
Right.
And I thought it would be a good time to leave my bag for a prank.
A former friend witnessed his developing interest in extremist violence.
He was showing me videos of ISIS grabbing a knife and cutting off people's heads slowly. He was like, doesn't this look sort of fun and all that? I was like, no, it doesn't. It looks a bit wrong, actually.
Damon Smith used an Al-Qaeda bomb-making manual to help him construct his device, but he denied he held extreme political views. However, the jury decided he did set out to attack tube travellers. June Kelly, BBC News.
Let's move on to other news now. And a student is tonight facing years behind bars after being found guilty of planting a bomb on a tube train. 20-year-old Damon Smith packed a rucksack with explosives and ball bearings and left it on a London Underground train last October. Detectives say it was only luck that it failed to detonate and that no one was injured. Neil Connery has more.
Hello everyone, I am going to shoot my gun.
Damon Smith's obsession with weapons of all kinds started in his childhood. But last October, the student who has Asperger's syndrome planted a homemade bomb on a busy tube train. This was Smith boarding a Jubilee Line train carrying a rucksack packed with explosives and ball bearings. He gets off at the next stop, leaving the rucksack containing the bomb on board. A passenger spots it, handing it to the driver. Minutes later, the driver sees wires and evacuates the train at the next station.
I'm Damon and I live in London and I go to university.
Okay.
This was Damon Smith being interviewed by police. The autistic student said he only meant the device to spew harmless smoke as a Halloween joke.
I thought it would be a good time to leave my bag for a prank.
The court heard Smith left the rucksack packed with explosives and shrapnel on a tube heading here for North Greenwich Station. Had the device detonated as planned, it would have gone off as passengers were leaving the platform. Smith built his device at home with a £2 clock from Tesco after searching an Al-Qaeda article on the internet about making bombs.
If it had detonated, it certainly would have endangered life. Without a doubt would have caused mass casualties and certainly would have caused substantial damage to the underground system.
Damon Smith will be sentenced at the end of the month after further psychiatric reports. Neil Connery, ITV News.
An autistic man has been found guilty of trying to cause maximum damage by making a bomb filled with shrapnel and leaving it on a train. 20-year-old student Damon Smith put his homemade device into a rucksack and left it on the London Underground last October. Smith claimed he only wanted to cause a delay. Had the bomb detonated properly, it would have exploded whilst commuters were still being evacuated from the station. Kamian Zeram has this report.
I'm Damon and I live in London.
Damon Smith is tonight facing a long jail term after being found guilty of planting a makeshift bomb on the London Underground. A bomb he claimed was meant as a prank.
When I was on the tube, I realised I was going to Stratford.
Right.
And I thought it would be a good time to leave my bag for a prank.
CCTV shows Smith leaving his bag on the train just by the door last October. There were several people still on the carriage. Smith got off the tube at London Bridge and went to college. Meanwhile, his homemade rucksack bomb was set to explode 13 minutes later, when the train would be at North Greenwich. It caused a major security scare. The unattended bag was handed by passengers to the driver, who noticed suspicious wires attached to a cheap alarm clock. North Greenwich tube station was evacuated. The device didn't go off properly, but later a bomb scene examiner found charring, suggesting it had in fact begun to ignite. Smith had packed it all into a thermos flask, stuffed with metal fragments.
If it had detonated, it certainly would have endangered life. Without a doubt would have caused mass casualties and certainly would have caused substantial damage to the underground system.
Hello everyone, I am going to shoot my gun.
Smith has Asperger's syndrome, which is a form of autism, and he's been interested in weapons and explosives since he was a boy. He recently developed an interest in ISIS, printing out bomb-making instructions from the internet. The judge said this afternoon that Smith won't be sentenced till the end of May, to give enough time to consider psychiatric reports and a probation assessment of his risk to public safety.
I've been